Level 1.
Ah, I hate you.
Ted Jones is on his bed. A bad dream again. Always the same dream. His old boss, Graham Pine, is in the dream. Graham wears a bear suit. He chases Ted through a forest.
I leave the company, but Graham Pine is in my dreams. It's not fair.
Ted is very tired, but he gets out of bed. It is a bright and sunny day. He has a job interview at the Genesis company. He arrives on time for the interview at 10 a.m.
Hello, my name is Ted Jones. I have a job interview with Mr. Carter.
Please take a seat, Mr. Jones. Mr. Carter will be with you in a moment.
Ted takes a seat and reads over his resume.
Please follow me, Mr. Jones. Mr. Carter will see you now.
Ted follows the receptionist into a meeting room. A man gets up from the large table in the center of the room.
Hello, Mr. Jones. It's nice to meet you. I'm Ron Carter, the Managing Director of Genesis.
It's nice to meet you too, Mr. Carter.
So, Mr. Jones, please tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a graduate of Bristol University. I majored in computer science. I worked as an IT support officer in various part-time jobs. In my last job, I was in the IT security and infrastructure department.
Please tell me why you left your previous job.
I was in my last job for 2 years. I would like new challenges.
Level 2.
I see. I was checking your resume, and I noticed that you studied Chinese at university.
That's right. I also studied in Beijing for a year.
Genesis wishes to expand to China. Having Chinese language skills puts you in a better position than the other candidates.
That's good to know.
The interview continued for another half an hour. Ted talked more about his previous job experience, and Mr. Carter talked about Genesis and what the job would entail.
Anyway, Mr. Jones, if you are to be successful, you will move on to the shortlist of candidates. We will contact you by phone in that case. Otherwise, we will email you if you are not successful.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Carter.
Goodbye, Mr. Jones.
Ted left the Genesis building and walked back towards the station. He was starving and decided to have an early lunch. There was a delicious Turkish restaurant he had been to once before. He decided to have an Iskender kebab plate. As Ted ate, he thought about his old job. He couldn't stand his former boss, Graham Pine. Not only was Graham Pine a control freak, but there was just too many things that they disagreed on. With Graham in charge, Ted could not do anything independently. Ted really hoped that he got the job with Genesis, especially if he could use some of his Chinese language skills. Level 3. 2 days later, Ted's phone rang. It was the secretary from Genesis.
Hello, Mr. Jones. This is Amy Parker. I'm Ron Carter's secretary.
Hello, Miss Parker.
I'm calling to inform you that you've been shortlisted for the IT job here at Genesis.
That's great news. Thank you very much.
Could you attend another interview on Thursday morning at 10:30?
Certainly.
Thanks, Mr. Jones. We'll look forward to seeing you then.
Ted hung up the phone and did a little dance around the living room. He was one step closer to getting an amazing new job. He flopped down onto the big armchair. It was his favorite piece of furniture in the room, but it had seen better days. Supposing he got the job, he would buy a new armchair. Ted really wanted the job, so he decided to spend the next day and a half preparing for it. He had his best suit dry cleaned and read all the information he could find on Genesis. Level 4. Ted was feeling confident when he left the house on Thursday morning. He had done everything he should have. When I wait for the bus on an important day like today, it will be late, he thought. So Ted walked an extra 10 minutes to the train station to avoid the possibility of transportation delays. He arrived at Genesis without any problems. He was shown into Ron Carter's office at 10:30 a.m. on the dot. They talked about Ted's short and long-term employment goals. Mr. Carter also did some role-play simulations with Ted. The interview proceeded very quickly.
Ted, I'm also interviewing the shortlisted candidates for the position of IT manager this morning. Whoever gets selected will be your new boss.
Does that mean you want to give me the job?
Yes, congratulations! I need to go on with the next interview, but if you could just go back and wait in the reception area, my secretary will outline the remaining procedures that you need to complete.
Thanks, Mr. Carter.
See you soon, Ted.
Ted was over the moon. He walked back to the reception area and saw a familiar face. He stopped dead in his tracks. The other man's face turned a shade of gray. It was Graham Pine.